Wife wanted. An open marriage. Brought back. An STD, husband, waited until family dinner to expose her. When my wife Sarah first mentioned the idea of an open marriage, I thought she was joking. We'd been together nearly 8 years, married for 5, and while not every day was perfect, I thought we were happy. So when she leaned across the couch one evening and said, almost casually, "I think we should try an open relationship," I laughed, but she didn't. Her eyes were steady, lips pressed in determination. "I love you, John," she said, "but I want more. I don't want to feel trapped. If we open things up, we can both have what we want without sneaking around." The words felt like knives. Sneaking around. She hadn't admitted to cheating, but I could read between the lines. I told her no at first. I wanted a wife, not a roommate with benefits. But Sarah kept pushing. She spoke about freedom, modern love, and not being owned. She painted me as old-fashioned, insecure, afraid. In the end, exhausted from the fights, I gave in. Not because I wanted it, but because I wanted to keep her. For the first month, nothing much changed. At least not for me. I didn't seek anyone else, didn't download apps or go to bars. I worked, came home, cooked dinner, and tried to ignore the way Sarah came home later and later, smelling of unfamiliar cologne, her phone buzzing with messages she never let me see. Then came the day everything snapped. I went in for a routine checkup, blood work my company insurance covered once a year. A week later, the doctor called me back into his office. He sat me down gently, too gently, and told me I had contracted an STD, something I couldn't possibly have gotten unless someone had given it to me. I felt sick. I don't drink, I don't party, and Sarah was the only woman I had been with for years. That left only one answer. My wife, in her so-called open marriage, had not only betrayed me emotionally, but now had infected me with the consequences of her choices. That night, I confronted her. She didn't even deny it. "It happens," she said coldly, as if passing me an infection was no bigger deal than catching the flu. "You agreed to this, John. You knew the risks." I stared at her, unable to believe her indifference. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't even ashamed. She was annoyed at being caught. And that's when I decided I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't throw her out. I would wait. Our anniversary was coming up in 2 weeks, and we always had a big family dinner. Her parents, her siblings, even her grandmother would be there. Sarah loved those dinners. She loved being the golden daughter, the perfect wife in front of everyone. That was where I would end this charade. The night of the dinner, I played my part perfectly. I smiled, hugged her mother, shook hands with her father, made polite conversation with her brothers. Sarah beamed, soaking up the attention. She thought she was in control, that no one knew the truth about the mess she had dragged me into. Halfway through the meal, I raised my glass. "I want to make a toast," I said. Everyone quieted, eyes on me. Sarah smiled, expecting some loving speech about our marriage. "I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight," I began, my voice steady, calm. "Family is everything. Trust, loyalty, commitment. These are the foundations of marriage. At least, that's what I believed." I paused, letting the silence stretch. Sarah's smile faltered. Unfortunately, I recently learned that not everyone shares those values. You see, Sarah wanted an open marriage. I turned to look at her directly. She froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. Gasps rippled around the table. She said she wanted freedom, variety. And while I tried to respect her wishes, I discovered something else along the way. Something I never thought I'd have to say out loud in front of family. She brought home more than just stories from her adventures. She brought home an STD. The room exploded. Her mother's face went pale. Her father slammed his hand on the table, demanding answers. Her siblings whispered in shock. And Sarah's face burned crimson. her mouth opening and closing with no words coming out. I set my glass down and leaned back in my chair. So to be clear, I'm done. The marriage is over. Papers are already being drawn. And I wanted you all to know why. Sarah shot up from her chair, tears welling, stammering, You can't. How dare you humiliate me like this? Her father cut her off sharply. Humiliate you? You humiliated yourself. How could you do this to your husband? I stood, buttoned my jacket, and looked at the family one last time. I loved her. I gave her everything. She made her choice, and now I'm making mine. I walked out without looking back. Behind me, I could hear her sobbing, her parents' voices rising in anger, the dinner collapsing into chaos. Later, when the divorce finalized, I walked away with most of the assets. The evidence of her recklessness and the medical records left no doubt in court. She moved into a small apartment alone, her reputation in shambles, while I rebuilt my life piece by piece. And the best part? I never had to raise my voice, never had to fight dirty. I simply let the truth do the damage. She wanted an open marriage. She got one wide open for everyone to see.